Hi there, and welcome. Today we're going to look at one of the most powerful financial tools available to individuals who want to grow and protect their wealth: a maximum funded, indexed, universal life insurance policy, or max funded IUL for short. Now, this isn't about selling a product, it's about showing you a strategy, a method that prioritizes liquidity, safety, solid rates of return, and tax-free growth. And most importantly, how this might fit into your bigger financial picture. So, quick disclaimers. Let me start with a very quick but important note. What you're about to see is purely educational, and these are hypothetical examples, not product recommendations. You should always work with a licensed professional for customized illustrations. So first, let's start with the swing versus the club. Now, you might have heard this metaphor: I want the swing, not the clubs. The idea is that success in golf and in finances isn't just about what tools you're using, but how you use them. And an IUL is just one club in your financial bag. But when you understand the swing, the strategy, it becomes an asset that can do things most people don't realize are even possible. So let's focus in on this for a second, because this metaphor is at the heart of everything. When people start talking about financial products, they get caught up in comparing tools, aka the clubs. Should I use a 401k? Or perhaps a Roth IRA? Or even an annuity? That's like obsessing over which golf club to buy before you've even learned how to swing. You see, it's not the club that gets the ball down the fairway, it's the swing. And in finances, your swing is your strategy. The same IUL in the hands of someone who doesn't understand tax law, distribution timing, or proper funding won't perform the same as it would in the hands of someone using it strategically. Just like a great golfer could outplay you with a rusted old 5-iron. So don't get distracted by big brand names or catchy headlines. Learn the swing, learn the strategy, and that's what I'm teaching here today. Once you've got that down, you can apply it to any financial tool and make it work for you. So let's build your swing together. Now, there are 3 standout strengths of this strategy: tax-free growth and income, protection from market losses, and access to your money when you need it. And we're going to break these down one by one. So let's start with taxes. Now ask yourself, do you think that taxes will go lower, stay the same, or be higher in the future? Most experts, and frankly most of us, believe that taxes are likely going up. And if that's true, then growing your money in a tax-deferred vehicle like a 401k or traditional IRA might not be your best bet. And that's where the IUL shines. It grows tax-free and can be accessed tax-free under current tax law. Now, common taxable vehicles such as traditional IRAs, 401ks, pensions, and even Social Security are taxed. Even a Roth IRA has limitations in order to get your tax-free access, such as having to be 59 and a half and having it open for at least 5 years. And then you've got CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and real estate, all subject to different types of taxes. So wouldn't it make sense to have at least one bucket of money that's growing completely outside the reach of Uncle Sam for the entire duration of you having it, and to have access to it for anything you might want? Next is protection from losses. And this is a big one, so let's dive in. First, let's talk about something that trips up even experienced investors. And that's the difference between average versus actual rates of return. And this is the illusion of the market. Most people hear that the S&P 500 has averaged around 8 to 10% over the long haul. Sounds great, right? But here's the trick. Averages lie. So let's imagine you have $100,000 invested. Year one, the market drops 50%. Now you're down to $50,000. The next year, it goes back up 50%. Sounds great, right? Not exactly. Because 50% of $50,000 is only $25,000. So now you're only at $75,000. The average return, 0%, but the actual return is negative 25%. And this is the danger of chasing average returns in volatile markets. Now compare that to the IUL. With an index strategy, you get a cap, let's say 10 or 11%. But in bad years, you don't lose anything. You simply earn 0%. And what makes this powerful is the lock-in and reset. When you earn a gain, that gain gets locked in and becomes your new floor. You never have to make up for a loss before growing again, and that's a game changer. It's like taking 2 steps forward, but never 1 step back. So over time, the IUL's growth might look slower on paper until you factor in all of the market crashes, panics, and corrections that erode traditional accounts, especially when you are getting closer to retirement and don't have the time to make it back up. So what's better, a ride that looks fast but crashes half the time, or one that climbs steadily, locks in progress, and protects every step forward? The IUL might not win the race in a single year, but this is how IULs win over time. By not only having the ability to chase returns, but by avoiding losses entirely. The result? Smoother, safer, tax-free growth year after year. Now, not all IULs only credit once a year. You've got options, and one of the biggest advantages of an IUL is how your growth is credited. You're not just riding the market, you're using smart tools like caps, floors, and participation rates to shape your gains. You can choose how your policy tracks growth using strategies like point-to-point or point-to-average, and even have choices of monthly, annually, or even over the course of 5 years. And with an uncapped IUL, along with participation rates of up to 200%, you could capture even more of the index's upside, all with downside protection from a built-in floor, with some policies even offering a guaranteed 1% minimum, keeping your cash value safe and growing. It's not just growth, it is customized opportunity tailored to your timeline and your risk comfort. Now, third strength is access. Specifically, accessing your money through policy loans. With an IUL, you're not locking money away until you're 59 and a half. With a properly structured IUL, you can access your cash value even sometimes in year one through policy loans tax-free. So let's say you have $1 million in cash value. The market goes up 10%, so your policy grows to $1.1 million. You have a $100,000 policy loan, but your full $1.1 million stays in the account and continues compounding. A year later, the index grows another 10%, so your accumulation value rises to just over $1.2 million. Meanwhile, your $100,000 policy loan now has a 5% interest charge, bringing the balance back to $105,000. That amount is subtracted from your cash value, which is now around $1.1 million, but your accumulation value, a little over $1.2 million, becomes your new starting point for the next policy year. And that's the beauty of an IUL loan strategy. You borrow against your money, not from it, keeping it compounding while you use it. So I want you to think of your IUL like an apartment building. In the beginning, you've only rented out the first floor, so it's not that profitable yet. But as you continue max funding it, you're essentially leasing out every floor and filling the policy up to maximum levels. Max funding it during your accumulation years is like renting out the additional floors in the apartment building. And with your building completely leased out, it is now optimized for profits. And once your policy is fully optimized, you enter what we call the distribution phase. This is when you get to start taking tax-free income. And since you're borrowing from the policy while it continues to grow, it can potentially fund decades of retirement income without ever depleting the cash value. It's like borrowing against your own business or apartment building. It's still running, still profiting, while you get to borrow against it as collateral. Now, of course, this is all based on strategy. To stay within tax code guidelines like 7702 and 72E, to avoid triggering tax consequences, your policy needs to be designed carefully. And that's why I encourage you to talk to a knowledgeable professional and to completely understand the strategy you are intending to use before trying to implement it. And last but definitely not least, what makes an IUL truly different are its living benefits, often included for free. These aren't just nice extras, they can be life-changing, such as chronic illness. Imagine you're diagnosed with Parkinson's or early-stage Alzheimer's and need help with daily activities. Your policy can give you access to funds to cover home care or assisted living without draining your savings. Then there's critical illness. If you have a heart attack, a stroke, or are diagnosed with cancer, the policy can accelerate a portion of your death benefit so that you can focus on recovery instead of bills. Then there's critical injury. Say you're in a serious accident, burns, traumatic brain injury, loss of limbs. This rider kicks in, giving you financial relief during recovery or rehab, even if you're out of work. And then there's terminal illness. If you're given a diagnosis with less than 12 to 24 months to live, your policy allows you to access part of your death benefit now, so that you can make final arrangements, travel, or simply live on your terms. Now, these are called living benefits because they protect your life, not just your legacy. Investments might grow your money, but they can't protect your life. An IUL can do both. So, if you're tired of riding the Wall Street roller coaster, frustrated by taxes eating away at your future, or just curious about a smarter strategy to grow and protect your life and wealth, this is your chance. I want you to think of your IUL like a carefully built bucket, one that fills with your contributions on one side and grows through compound interest on the other. When properly structured, it becomes a living system. And as your policy fills over time, that growth begins to overflow, nurturing something bigger. Like water feeding the roots of a tree, your policy begins to fund protection, opportunity, and eventually a harvest of tax-free income in retirement. So let's find out if the IUL is the right swing for your game. Click the link or schedule your free consultation now, and I will walk you through every step based on your unique goals and situation.